In the sports page with the Orlando Sentinel and FM 96.9 The Game's Mike the Bulldog Bianchi.
On JRR.
Bulldog Sports page brought to you by JRR's Rock the Bank cash giveaways. Your first $1,000 prize up for grabs right around 9:05. Be listening for those hourly keywords. Enter them at WJR.com for your chance to win $1,000 and Rock the Bank. Isn't that right, Bulldog?
Rock the bank, rock the Casbah. The Magic were rocking the Kia Center last night, last game before the All-Star break. They put the clamps on the tanking, injury-plagued Charlotte Hornets. Magic win 102-86. Paolo Banchero led the Magic. He had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Anthony Black comes off the bench. Scores 18 on 8 of 13 shooting from the floor. Franz Wagner at 16.7 rebounds. And the Magic, obviously they should beat the Charlotte Hornets, who I just mentioned are injured and tanking. But when you look at what's going on, the Magic have jumped ahead of the Heat and the Hawks. They're now in the 7th spot. They go into the All-Star break with wins in 3 of their last 5 games. Not spectacular, but still playing better. Jalen Suggs is expected to be back after the All-Star break, and the Magic have one of the more favorable schedules following the break. I believe everything is set up for the Magic to be a 5 or a 6 seed. I don't think they're going to get to a 4, which would give them home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. But I still think the Magic can make a run after the break and be in decent playoff position.
There you go. See, that's the glass half full I want to hear, because I was telling Pat the same thing. We're going in the break, coming off a win, bad win, good, any win's a win. And then you get Suggs when you come back. I like it.
Bulldog, how was Media Day out at Daytona International Speedway yesterday?
Obviously, all the drivers were there discussing the issues of NASCAR. Talked to your boy Kyle Busch for a little bit. Jimmy Johnson was there. He's a little PO'd that he has to qualify for the race, whereas we talked about this the other day, Helio Castroneves, he gets sort of an exemption into the race on this new international exemption rule that NASCAR has. But Jimmy Johnson says he expects to qualify for the race. The one guy I talked to, Denny Hamlin, who of course has won the race 3 times. He owns half that race team with Michael Jordan. He sort of called out his driver, Bubba Wallace, yesterday and said, hey, Bubba, runs well for, 7, 8, 10 races, and then he just sort of loses it. He needs to be more consistent this year. I think Bubba's sort of on the hot seat this year for that race team.
Can't finish.
Well, the front row is set after last night. Chase Briscoe will be on the pole, and then Austin Cindric will join him on the front row.
Cool.
Then the duels this evening to set the rest of the field.
The duels are tonight. I'm curious. There was a lot of talk yesterday. A lot of the reporters, not me, but some of the reporters were asking the drivers about the state of NASCAR. TV ratings are still a concern. Fan interest are still a concern. And I don't know what NASCAR is to do. I mean, their races are their races. Maybe there's too many of them. Maybe some of them are too long. Is there anything NASCAR can do to increase the TV ratings or the fan interest? I mean, you guys follow the sport. I was trying to think, what could they do?
Pat?
I think the season is too long. I really do. I know the hardcore fans love it, but, those who are more casual, you might be hooked for the first few weeks, and then you kind of go away, and then you may not even come back until it gets, into the tail end of the season.
Shorten it, yeah.
I was thinking about this. I was talking to Joey Logano yesterday. Joey Logano, who's won 3 championships. He's a defending champion.
You didn't stare at his hair, did you?
No, he had his hat on. I was going to ask him about his hair, but I didn't.
Right.
That was the dog bite I was looking for. I said to Pat yesterday, I hope he asks the hard-hitting questions out there at Media Day and we get a dog bite. That would have been the one.
What'd you ask him?
No, I was going to make an observation that, he's a 3-time champion, defending champion. I think most most fans don't know that much about Joey Logano. I think NASCAR's one of their issues is they don't really have a transcendent star. You know what I mean? A guy who sort of transcends the sport. Like Kyle Busch has sort of fallen off. He's not really a factor that much anymore.
He's one of the old guys now.
I see what he's saying, though. You know, like there's a face for basketball. There's a face for golf.
Did you guys know Joey Logano? Like, I probably could have asked Taco Bob who won the title last year, and he wouldn't have known it was Joey Logano. Right, Taco?
You're correct.
Joey lived at the Atlanta Speedway for a while.
He did?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the reasoning?
When he was just getting into the race, his family moved down there, and that's where he built things up from there, and away he went.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it was Atlanta. Anyway, yeah.
I thought you meant he lived in the Speedway.
He did. He lived at the Speedway for yeah.
Baker Mayfield.
Speaking of press conferences,
hey, real quick, is Baker moving back into Tampa to the stadium? Like those old commercials, those were the best, dude.
Speaking of press conferences, Scott Frost held a press conference, emerged from a 10-week just work fest where he had to name a coaching staff, had to brought in 40 new players via the transfer portal and high school recruiting. Hired a coaching staff. It's going to be interesting to see how this team pans out in the first year. I hope fans are going to give Scott Frost a little bit of patience and a little bit of grace.
Well, you have to. You have to.
Yeah. It's going to be a process. I mean, he took over a program. The reason Gus Malzahn bailed is because he knew it wasn't going to be fixed in 1 year. So we'll see what happens.
Bulldog, have you been following the Four Nations face-off? The opening game was last night. It's Canada took care of Sweden in a 4-3 final.
What sport are we talking about?
I don't blame him.
Tonight, United States opens up their Four Nations face-off against Finland. Bulldog.
Is this the NHL you're talking about?
Yeah, they're on break while they do this Four Nations face-off tournament.
And I thought while they're on break, we'd get a break.
Is that their all-star game now?
No, this is an inaugural thing here, and it's interesting. They get the players representing these Four Nations, and it's for bragging rights.
But this is in replacing their all-star game.
I don't know. I know this is new.
They don't have an all-star game, right?
Well, they had the 3-on-3 stuff for years, right?
Lynch, I'm asking you.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't follow the sport.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But
U.S. I think it's actually not a bad idea in place of the All-Star game. In fact, I think the NBA should do the same thing. I think the NBA should have the sort of like the Ryder Cup, the American NBA All-Stars against the International NBA All-Stars.
Be interesting.
I think that would create some interest. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right, Bulldog, you'll find him over on AM 740 and FM 96.9 The Game, weekday mornings, hosting Open Mic. He takes time out of his show to join us here for the sports page each morning on JRR.
Download